Welcome to the Learning Curve with me, Bharat Agarwal. My guest today is Mr. Sumedh Thakar, a person who has taken the flag of VIT Pune, of our city of Pune, of our country, right up to Nasdaq. He leads a multi-billion-dollar company called Qualys. From starting as a software engineer to becoming the CEO of the cybersecurity giant, Sumedh is still a Puneri at heart. Welcome to the Learning Club, Sumedh.
Thank you, Bharat. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
From Kothur to California, tell us about your professional journey.
Go through to California sounds like a PMT bus route, right? It has been what you just said, the operating word being journey. Life is all about the journey and the experience of it. And so it's definitely been an incredible opportunity that I've had in professional career. In 1997, I passed out and I got a job with Patni through campus, through VITs. And so I worked for Patni for a couple of years. And then through them, I moved to the US, working for Northwest Airlines in Minnesota. And then I moved on to the California, where at that time, a lot of the Silicon Valley e-commerce bubble back in 2000. And so I started working for a couple of startups.
You mentioned about 2 startups.
Yeah.
Can you just elaborate a bit more?
Yeah, it's interesting. They call them startups because you don't know where it's going to end. So part of that journey was, these were a couple companies back in the day, and it was interesting because the first company I was with, they were doing some interesting things about accounting in the cloud before it was called cloud, but they ran out of funding, and I got laid off, and which was a big shock at the time. Sure. Because, coming from Pune, and that cultural background, losing a job was always like, it's a bad thing, right? You must be bad at your job. That's why you lost the job, even though it was more a financial decision by the company to lay off a bunch of people. But that really shook me a little bit to say like, wow, that's not good. So I was afraid to tell my parents that, they fired me from the job. And then I took another startup, and miraculously, second time the startup also went under, as happens in Silicon Valley all the time. But it was, again, I'm like, well, it must be me. Second time I got laid off from this other company. But it was interesting because you kind of start questioning yourself, and you feel the pressure of like, maybe you're not good, maybe that's why you're losing your job second time. But that was one of the things at the time I really kind of put myself in that frame of mind that you don't give up. Right, you're gonna have failures like this as part of your journey, and you just gotta pick up and go to the next level. And so then I ended up at Qualys, and been a great journey since then.
You have a rather unique journey at Qualys, from starting as a software engineer to becoming a CEO. Please take us through this.
Yeah, definitely very unique, because people ask me a lot these days. Nobody stays at a job for almost 20 years, true, right? True. And I feel like every 2 years I did a completely different job, which is really what kept it so interesting at Qualys. But I mean, I remember, I got laid off from the previous company, and I got a job at Qualys. I really didn't know what they were doing. I was just, they're giving me a job, so I'll take the job. And I started as a software engineer at the time, and but I was apprehensive because 20 years ago cybersecurity was not that.
So was Qualys itself a startup then?
Qualys was a startup, yeah. We were like very early days, right? Yes. But that is this, in Silicon Valley, that's the bug everybody has. You want to join a startup that's going to go big. It's like people coming to Bollywood and thinking like, okay, I'll become a star someday, right? So I joined Qualys. I didn't quite know what Qualys did at the time, but they were giving me a job, and I needed a job, so I took that. And cloud was not that big, but even cybersecurity was not that big, right? Back in the day, surely not. You had antivirus on your computer, that's more than enough, right? And I was like, I don't know where this is going to go. So it wasn't like I had some amazing vision at the time that this is going to be the future or something like that. But what happened through the journey as I started interacting with more customers, we had some really amazing early adopter customers, and talking to them, I started realizing that, hey, this is something that's going to be the future. But it really hit me why this is so important was when my father at the time, online banking had just come on, and Before that, you used to go to Bank of Maharashtra, take the token, sit in line for a long time to take your money out, right? So my father was very apprehensive about using online banking, password, and all of that. And that really made me realize at the time that how fundamental uh, IT and online is going to be, and also the fear that will prevent people from going through that was going to be very much about if it is secure or not. And I think that was a aha moment to that journey. But as I started as a software engineer, and every time I saw an opportunity to help somewhere. Like I took over product management, then I took over engineering, I took over customer support, I took over even IT at some point, and so there was no job that was small. So whatever the company needed to get done, whatever our customers wanted to do, I was willing to roll up my sleeves and jump in, even if I hadn't done before, because the attitude of wanting to help and doing everything you can was more important than the specific expertise in the particular topic. Because if you have the attitude and the desire, you will figure it out. And so that's why every couple of years it was a different job. And I, 2 years ago, I had the privilege and the opportunity to take over the company as a CEO.
It was a proud moment for me a couple of weeks back. I had gone to the Balewadi High Street for dinner with friends. In one of the finest buildings over there, I saw the brand of Qualys. Tell us about the Pune office and its operations.
Yeah, it looks like Balewadi High Street is the place to go these days. It's actually interesting you say that, because so many times I get text messages from my VIT friends and Karnataka High School friends. They go for dinner somewhere in Balewadi High Street. They see the big Qualys yes. brand on the building, and they'll send me photos saying how happy they are to see Qualys here in Pune. But yeah, it was a journey that started about 10 years ago for Qualys in Pune. And my vision really at the time for Qualys was that we wanted to expand the platform that we had built in ways that can actually bring multiple cyber capabilities onto one platform and simplify things. But to build and innovate, we needed a large number of talented people. And trying to do that fully in the Bay Area was going to be tough for us at the time. So 10 years ago, I started on Jangli Maharaj Road with a small office of 20 people, and it was above this like Blue Dart go down, right? It wasn't even some fancy office. So first time I came, I was like, I don't know that people are going to want to work in this office. So we would invite people to the CCD. Yes. On the corner, not bring them to the office in case they looked at the office and said they didn't want to come. But now, we are over 1,000 people in Pune. It's been a really remarkable journey, and mainly because the innovation that the team here has been able to do, working with our US teams to create some really amazing things in cybersecurity, which today the code and the capabilities developed by our team here in Pune is being leveraged by some of the largest technology companies and the banks absolutely worldwide, right? Including, proud moment for us is what Qualys does with Aadhar today to secure Aadhar and working with that. So the journey for Pune has been great. In fact, in September, we finished our 10 years in Pune. The personal journeys of people from where they were today to where they are have been absolutely fantastic. To hear how some of the early women engineers who joined us today are doing extremely well. More than anything else, those are really the moments that make all of us proud.
You mentioned about Aadhar and Qualys.
Yes.
That gives us immediate pride.
Yeah, I think we're very proud to be working with UIDAI and to helping secure Aadhar, because it's such a fundamental fabric of what India is today.
Security, and I mean cyber security, right? These are techy terms, normal terms for people like you. Yeah. For laymen, for people like us, can you explain more and talk more about it, the impact of cybersecurity on all of us?
Yeah, I'm a techie, so we always talk about those terms. But I think you're right. It's important to understand, the how do you make this simple for the common folks who are using it on a day-to-day basis. And it goes back to what I talked about earlier. My father not
online banking.
Exactly right. My father not wanting to use online banking in the early days because of password, etc. Few years ago, digital technology was used, just computers were used to speed up business, maybe some processing, back-end processing calculation. But if you look today, all your interaction with your bank, right? You can take a selfie today. to open a bank account. I mean, businesses are competing with each other on the digital experience of their customer, right? It's not about the fixed deposit ka rate kiska zyada hai. It is always about who has the easiest way to talk to the bank person on video call with on my phone, right? You look at airlines. Back in the day, you used to go to a travel agent. They used to do everything. Now you look for your flights online. You book the ticket. You book the seat. You check in. You create the barcode. You go scan the barcode. I mean, except flying the plane, we are doing everything, right? It's all because of digital technology. But no other place in the world has it been more empowering than in India. Predominantly in India, what the government has done with leveraging digital technology like Aadhar, UPI, etc., to uplift a lot of people out of financial exclusion has been just phenomenally transformational to the country. I was in Mumbai and we were out at the beach and there was somebody who was selling kulfi.
Yes.
Right? And he just had this big kulfi thing tied to his body. He had a QR code at the front.
Yes.
Right? And we had one of the guests was visiting with us from the US and he was asking, about that, the QR codes. I was explaining that in the past, this person wouldn't have been able to earn that much money because you don't have change, don't have the time, chutta nahi hai, ye wo. But today, because all it takes is a smartphone to scan the QR code, within few seconds, you're able to make a transaction. They're able to do much more faster. But the flip side of that is that people would never use this technology if it was not highly secure. Our industry is all about removing the risk that comes in the digital journey.
Coming to the biggest moments of your life, the Nasdaq moment. What was that day? How were the emotions? What were the feelings?
Definitely one of the very important moments and big moment. I would say life's full of so many different moments. But for me, finishing 10 years of the company as a public company and having created significant value for our shareholders was really important, because when you create a company, you are looking for multiple things that you want to achieve, right? And so I felt like that was the moment where we could celebrate the fact that we created a company that actually changed cybersecurity in a very positive way with all the innovation we did. Over the 10 plus years, we had a significant impact, socioeconomic impact for our employees. But more importantly, that would not have been possible without our employees. And of course, I was able to bring a few of them up onto the big stage in New York at the Nasdaq to ring the closing bell. And I think that meant a lot to them, but more importantly to their families, right? I think the contribution of the employees would not have been possible without the families being able to contribute to what they did. And so the opportunity at a global stage like that to thank our employees and their families and the contribution that they made, I think was just a proud moment for me. And
I'm
just
so sure of this.
and just that journey coming from Pune and being able to ring the bell over there was a proud moment for my parents. And so I think I was just really excited about what my parents were feeling, what my family was feeling, my kids. It was just a great moment for me.
I'm so sure. I never met you before. None of your teachers who taught you are today at employment, because most of them have retired. But as soon as this news came out and we saw the clipping and the video, the entire leadership team, the teaching faculty of VIT was so much with pride. I'm sure the same feeling would have been with your family, and as you rightly fully mentioned, the family of your employees. Because this is a day that people will live with.
Exactly, right? VIT was such a big part of this journey, so it was just an exciting time for me.
You were in the earlier batches of VIT as a computer engineer student. Any memories of those days?
Yeah, it was computer engineering itself was a fairly new area at the time, and it was really difficult to find professors who actually had enough experience in computers to actually teach. So of course we had Prabhu sir was the HOD, and he was just an amazing person who had so much knowledge, but finding teachers was hard. So our teachers were just pass outs a year before us from other colleges, and so not a lot of experience in teaching, but it was definitely interesting at the time. VIT had great facilities from having computers, etc., but things were changing so fast that sometimes you're learning the theory but didn't necessarily have availability of the technology around you to be able to practice some of those things as well.
You mentioned Prabhu sir, and whenever we remember him, The second word comes is discipline.
Yes, he was he definitely great disciplinarian and very particular. But I think a lot of amazing life lessons in my journey at VIT, but especially with Prabhu sir, because I remember this one incident when one of my friends at the time we had some test or something practical, and we had to bring our journal, and he forgot the journal at home, and so he went to Prabhu sir saying, "I forgot my journal. What should I do?" Prabhu sir asked him, "Where do you live?" And he said, "I live it's 15 minutes from here." So he looked at his watch. He said, "Why don't you go immediately and then don't come back?" and it was like, oh my God, that is so strict. But if you ever actually not shown up on time for a plane or not brought the right documents with you to board a plane,
You go back.
you go back. And it was an important lesson in life that when there is something important, you better come prepared and you better be focused. And if you're not, you lose an opportunity in life, and that could be one of the biggest opportunity that you would ever get. I felt like while the curriculum was same in different colleges that were sort of part of the University of Pune, the education, right? And education is not just about your marks. The education is the learning you get from the holistic experience. I think that was very powerful at VIT.
You are one of the most successful CEOs of the Silicon Valley. What has been your learning curve like?
I don't know about one of the most, but definitely it's interesting because whenever people say that to me, I was go back to what is success. And success is a social construct today, unfortunately, when in reality, success is really a personal construct in my mind, because there are days when, as a software engineer, I felt so successful when my little program worked. And then there are days as a CEO, people look at you as successful because of the title and money or whatever it is, but you don't feel so successful because there are so many challenges around you. So I think success is all about what you decide, how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel very happy, you're successful. You can have all the title, everything, but if you're not feeling happy about what you're doing, then you're not successful, right? And it really goes back to that. And so for me, the journey has had way more failures than quote unquote successes, because once you reach the peak, right, Vetal Tekadi, whatever here, right, and you're looking at the next peak over on the other mountain, you want to go there, you have to go through a valley. Absolutely. You cannot go from one peak to the other directly, right? So that is that journey, and so as they say, I heard this somewhere where they say that success is not final, and failure is not fatal. It's the courage to pick up from your failure, learn from it, and continue is what is going to lead you to success, right? And my father always says that your money can be taken away, your looks can be taken away, your health can be taken away. It is your knowledge that you acquire can never be taken away. What you learn, you can never unlearn.
Sumedh, as per your experience, what makes a good leader? I
didn't really go to any school for education about good leadership, but I think what I have learned through my experience is that first it is about what you do in the time that you have is what is defining you as a leader. And you really boil it down to the simplicity of a good leader is somebody who has a good vision. And the second part of that is somebody who can rally a team around them that actually can then deliver on that vision. So the team is everything. You absolutely cannot do anything without a good team. So a lot of times managers especially, they struggle because they feel that they need to hire people who know less than them so that they can tell them what to do. But a real good leader is going to be the one who is hiring people who are better than them,
smarter than the leader,
smarter than them in those areas, and deliver those capabilities better than what I would have done.
You grew up in Dhanutar colony. What were your growing up years like?
Life was very simple, nothing fancy. I used to I was at Karnataka High School, and Bharat Agarwal College after that. So I used to, take my cycle to school, and we used to had my mother's Luna to go to Garware College, and used to bunk classes and sit in front. The Rasacha Gural hota, so every day just sitting there and hanging out. And then VIT, of course, was interesting because living in Kothurud, and VIT was far away in Upper Indiranagar.
At least those days.
Yes. And our batch was the first batch with the free seat, payment seat, and I got the free seat. So told my father that you saved so much money in the thing, so I need a bike. So my dad said, okay, 6 o'clock, I'll be at the Bajaj showroom. If you come there, you will get a MAT. If not, it's PMT. So
The choice was between
so
MAT
I
and
was
PMT.
unhappy, but 6 o'clock went there, got my MAT, and 4 years, went to VIT on my MAT. So life was, very simple. It's really funny now that we have a lot of guests that come from outside, and when we are traveling from the airport, they are fascinated with traffic and everything, but they point out, look, that family of 4 is on one scooter, right? One boy standing in the front, someone is sitting in the middle, and they are so fascinated with that. And I tell them that was me, right? My achievement for my father, first achievement was being able to buy a scooter for the family, right? And so I enjoy the simple pleasures in life.
Something from your father and mother that you remember?
My mother is very, very social, and so I learned a lot about how caring she was about everybody around us. And anytime there was something happening, there was some issue, she was the first one to go help people, right? And nothing expectation in return. And just watching my father, he stayed at the same company for 20 plus years, and the entire time. So learning from him, watching him, how he was really calm, how he was thoughtful, man of few words, right? That you don't need to be constantly talking, you need to be listening, and he is going to say a few words, but those are going to be the most impactful words. And that always is the hallmark of a good leader. I feel very blessed to have that growing up as part of my life.
Tell us about your family now.
So my parents live here in Pune, still in Dhanukar. My wife and kids, so they are with me in the San Francisco Bay Area where we live. And my wife, she's an amazing artist, and she's an animator. So she's worked on movies like Shrek and Madagascar. So she's always the artistic one in the house. And more recently, she's been very much into empowerment of people here in India. But she's been an amazing support for me, because with my schedule, with my crazy travel, things like that, that unquestionable support is one of the most important things in my life, because without that, I wouldn't be able to be where I am. And my son is 15, so he's 15 and a half as he will correct me. He's got a permit for driving, which is very scary to think about it, but he's a good driver. And my daughter, she is 11, and she is like her mom. She's an artist, and she loves to sing. And on the other hand, she's very chill like me, so she likes to just relax, watch TV, things like that. So it's great to have that as part of, because no matter what you do, Nasdaq and all that, at home you're just the father that is helping them navigate things in life.
Their journey.
Yeah, exactly. So
what are the personal interests or hobbies of the CEO of Qualys?
Simple things, as I said, I'm a foodie. So sometimes when you're a foodie, you have to make your own food. So I actually do enjoy cooking. I do a lot of cooking. I like to try different things. My family doesn't always like the different things that I make, so I have to eat my own stuff sometimes. But other than that, I really am into photography and videography, drones. I like motorcycles, riding motorcycles. So I on the weekends I really try to find time to just hang out with friends and do some of these things, because they really are sort of de-stressors.
And travel, I'm sure it's part of your
travel
life.
I love travel in general, because I like seeing places, and again, being a foodie, it gives a great opportunity to go try different things. But yeah, I travel quite a bit, and it's kind of crazy. Like I think I had like 1 million plus miles on United, and so when I had my 1 million mile flight from New Delhi to San Francisco, it's like a 17-hour non-stop flight. They were nice, the pilot, and they came out and they gave me like a signed thing of all the crew and everything as a memorabilia. And
Sumedh, what causes are you passionate about?
one of the areas that I have focused on, and Qualys has focused on quite a bit, is in general empowerment of women and bringing more women in technology. We've been doing quite a bit in sponsoring 4-year complete scholarship for underprivileged women in technology. We do that with VIT, so thank you for the partnership there. We do some of that with the Leela Poonawalla Foundation as well.
Well, thank you, Sumedh. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. You gave yourself, your family, and the entire VIT Pune family a Nasdaq moment. And we will always remember this, and we'll always be very proud of you. Thank you for sharing your journey with us.
Yes, thank you very much, and giving me the opportunity to come out here and talk to the current students and future students. And I definitely also want to take a moment to thank the Agarwal family and VIT for being such a major force in the field of education and the impact that you guys have made, and the future leaders that you have created in the world. I think is something that you guys should be proud of, and I'm happy to be one part of that journey that the Agarwal family has been on this journey on. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Sumedh. So Sumedh, we don't have the fancy Nasdaq bell, but please ring the closing bell of this episode.
यार इंडिया में तो सब जगह घंटा बजाना पड़ता है, राइट? मंदिर में भी, so why not, right?
Thank you so much.